So the other day we were out for dinner with one of my friend from my university or the college time when I was studying engineering, and naturally, as we were meeting after a while, we were talking about our different experiences which we went through during our engineering, different fun things which we did, different. Funny stories and everything and funny experiences. And matter of fact, when my friend was telling me some of the things which actually according to him I initiated those, or I cracked those kind of jokes back then. I had no clue about what he was talking about, and I had no clue or no remembrance or no memory of that thing happen. It sounded uh, very plausible that I could do it, or I must have done it, but I did not remember it at all. And this is not the first time this is happening. Many a times, even with my band, when we are jamming, or when they say, okay, back in the day, like 10 years ago, something happened, I do not remember. So I have a very proven theory about why this is happening, and I'm sure it must be happening with you as well, because I talk to multiple friends of mine, and they also are having or facing such things in their life as well. If we're going to talk about this, and I think it will make sense, and it will have some sort of a good message at the end of the episode, which will be helpful for us to store exactly all the experience which we are going through right now, all the interesting things. How can we store it for longer time, so that in 10 years down the line, it shouldn't happen that in 2021 or 2022 you did something and you are not able to remember at all. So we'll talk about that in this episode. Let's go.
Your afternoon caffeine with Dailysh Pod is here. A creative podcast to refuel your day. Presenting your host, Suyog, also known as the Fun Indian Guy.
So I was reading the book other day. The book's name is Why We Sleep, and it was recommended by Bill Gates maybe 2 years ago, because he recommends 5 books every year or in every season. And towards the end of 2019, I suppose, entering 2020, he had shared 5 books, and Why We Sleep was one of them. The book is very thick, and it is based on a research kind of a thing. It's of course it's based on a research, but the kind of language the book has, the chapters it has, are a bit too much to consume, too many concepts, too much of scientific information, so it gets a bit dry for my taste. Maybe you will enjoy it. I'm not saying you won't, but the book holds great amount of information, great amount of things which are very helpful and very important for us to know when it comes to sleep, and how sleep actually derives our life, and how sleep saves our life, and how sleep runs our life altogether. So reading that book is definitely a great thing. If you can find a summary, that will also help, because you'll kind of catch important things out of the book. I finished 50-ish percentage of book, and then I got many learnings out of it already, and then I couldn't continue, though I think the rest of the 50% also holds very interesting facts about dreams and everything. I at some point I would go back to that book, but for now I have understood sleeping is very important. So now you must be thinking, like, what is the relation between the memories which you are not able to recall and this particular thing? And sleep is the bridge between all those things. So as I was reading the book, there were chapters about how your brain functions. So you have short-term memory and long-term memory. I'm going to boil it down to very layman language, just the way I was actually explaining to my friends. So you have short-term memory and long-term memory, and whenever you do something, certain experiences throughout your day, they are stored in short-term memory. And then at night when you sleep, your brain transfers the short-term memory information, kind of filters through it, and shifts the important stuff into long-term memory, so that later whenever you are recalling that, it's stored there. But for this particular action to happen, what you need is sleep, 8 hours of sleep without any interruption, so you have REM cycle and everything which is healthy, so that your brain can function. And most of the times we think that sleeping is basically losing opportunity, but it's not the right way of approaching sleep. Sleep is actually a very crucial important factor of our life, because sleep also plays a lot of functions in our life and how it keeps our body living. So back to our memory thing. So basically, sleeping would take your short-term memory into long-term memory and store it for long term. So during my engineering time, what used to happen is, I used to first of all stay in hostel. So we were just chilling at night with all the people at the hostel, doing playing games or something like that. And at the same time, I was also extensively playing with my band. So I used to a lot of the times to get locked down or locked out of my hostel, because I had a curfew at 11. And then I used to just stay at my bandmate's place, or sometimes we used to have like an overnight recording sessions and everything. As a result, I was just not sleeping enough. And at that time, I think I was very active on Snapchat. Right now, I don't know how many people are using Snapchat, but people from my age group, I see them getting notifications and snapping back and all those things. So maybe Snapchat is back in fashion. I'm not sure, but I used to use Snapchat extensively back in those times, so in my engineering times. And I remember I was actually sleeping for 7 hours a week sometimes, because not every week, of course, that will be stupid. I wouldn't survive with that kind of habit. But there were weeks where I was just sleeping for 7 hours or 8 hours or 11 hours throughout the week. So a couple of hours a day, sometimes less than an hour, which is not healthy, and I will never recommend that. But because of that, when I came across the situations where I was not able to remember things from back in the day, and when I was reading this particular book, it all made sense. So I think that is a very plausible reason, that because I was not sleeping enough, my brain did not store those memories. So many of times people if ask me and tell me that this happened, I have no memory of that. So that is the problem here, and I cannot solve this problem. What I can do is, when my people come to me and tell me that, so you did that back in 2012 or 2013 and that was very funny, or we did that together and that was the kind of experience which we had, and you are like clueless on that dinner table, and you're like, man, I have no clue what you're talking about. In that particular instance, listen to him carefully, go home and sleep. So at least his interpretation or his narration of that story will get stored, if not the real experience which you had back in 2012, 2013. So that's why, as I said, the episode will have some sort of silver lining of sort. Sleep. If you had a really great time, if you had a really fun day with your friends, if you had a kick-ass time doing something really, really good, make sure you go home and sleep for 8 hours uninterrupted. Because that is the only way you can store that for long term, and keep recalling it once in a while so that it gets refreshed and gets stored, because the brain will do audit every day. Whatever from the old times he thinks that you didn't require, or you never recalled, or you didn't have to go back to those memories, it will naturally delete those. So just like that, make sure you store your memories in a good way by having 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. Make sure you also read the summary of the book, as I said, Why We Sleep, so that you will get a lot of different facts and figures and reasons why we must sleep for 8 hours. With that said, that's all from this particular episode. If you have a friend who takes pride in not sleeping, that he says like, I work so hard that I only sleep for 3 hours, or I don't sleep at all and I'm just working all night long. I used to do that. That was me back in the day, and also sometimes I still do it. Share this episode with him, because in short term he might be happy. In long term, he might not even remember that he was happy. So that's the point of this particular episode. And I really enjoyed saying that last line, and that was very nice. I'll just go back to it and listen to it when I'll edit this episode. Yeah, that was fun, and I must sleep to store that fun. With that said, guys, take care, stay safe, and I shall talk to you in the next one. Ciao.
If you like what we do, then make sure to follow Dailyish Pod wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as on Instagram. For more visual experience, do subscribe to the Fun Indian Guy YouTube channel. Until next time, have fun.